Good morning and welcome to Farm Factor. I'm your host, Jamie Bloom. Up first, Duane Toews visits with Tim Stroda, Executive Director of the Kansas Pork Association. Then enjoy this week's Kansas Soybean Update. Next, Kyle Bauer takes a look at national and international pork production with Terry O'Neill with the National Pork Board. Then it's this week's Kansas Farm Bureau Update, and we'll end with Plain Talk featuring Kyle and Duane. Stay with us.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com. This segment brought to you by Kansas Grain Sorghum. Growers working together. Find out more at kansasgrainsorghum.org.
Welcome to Farm Factor. Let's join Duane Toews as he visits with Tim Stroda with the Kansas Pork Association about the pork outlook in the state of Kansas.
Duane Toews joining you once again here on Ag AM in Kansas, and a chance to catch up with Tim Stroda with the Kansas Pork Association. Tim, we think about the swine industry in Kansas. It continues to be vibrant. Certainly there are ups and downs in the markets, but in terms of production, we continue to hold our own.
That'd be correct. And I always get the question about, are there any new farms coming to Kansas? And yes, there are. And surprisingly, I probably work with more small farms coming to the state than large farms that we're helping through the permitting process and look at niche markets. Either those packers are not going to be in the state, but they're in several surrounding states. And as far as actually talking with a call yesterday with a group from Oregon that was looking for pigs from small farms. So you never know what the next phone call is going to be.
You certainly think about those opportunities. It's almost like we're seeing a re-diversification of some of our farm and ranch operations.
That would be very correct. These all have programs that are specific. They may be organic, they may be non-GMO that they're asking for, they may be no antibiotic, or they may be regular, what I'll call regular production. So we have the whole gamut of farms that are looking at doing whatever their program calls for and what that packer is calling for, which is what a consumer someplace is asking for. So we're trying to meet those needs to let everybody enjoy great pork.
Talk about the consumer a little bit. That individual, what the makeup is of that consuming public is changing over time in society with different interests and needs, and certainly pork is very at forefront in current trends of today.
We have, of course, we have bacon, and that's hard to beat that. There's no reason to get off that horse. We just stay right with the bacon. And, of course, pulled pork has been very good for us in restaurants. It has really kind of become our what we would call our hamburger is pulled pork. And we have is one of the growing segments across the nation in restaurants and food service.
As far as production issues within the state of Kansas, obviously we continue to work on things, be it water quality or manure management. I know there's some concerns out there about some of the regulations concerning odor that are upon us at this point as well. As our facilities, the newer style facilities do a little better job of handling that. Some of our smaller facilities that we're looking at the niche would be closer back to what people think of as a hog farm in the 50s, basically. But we hope with some best management practices that we can help those farmers do a little better job of being good neighbors. Our thanks to Tim Stroda, Kansas Pork Association, joining us here on Ag AM in Kansas. Jamie, we'll send it back to you.
Thanks, Duane. Folks, come back after these messages for this week's Kansas Soybean Update.
KFRM is one of the largest farm radio stations in the nation, dedicated to informing and entertaining rural listeners from northern Oklahoma to southwestern Nebraska. You can catch KFRM in many ways. Of course, 550 on the AM dial, streaming at kfrm.com, or on your smartphone by going to the TuneIn Radio app. or on Ag AM in Kansas on Tuesdays and Facebook every day of the week. KFRM, tune us in. You'll be glad you did.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
The new Better Horses Network is worldwide. Presented by Lucas Oil. Featuring worldwide radio and TV with iconic hosts like Al Dunning, Sharon Camarillo, Ernie Rodina, Lindy Birch, and Craig Cameron. With American Cowboy, Horse and Rider, Brushy Creek, Cavenders, and Ride TV. Worldwide radio and TV. The all-new Better Horses Network.
This segment is brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Welcome back to Farm Factor and the Kansas Soybean Update.
This is the Kansas Soybean Update. It's brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Greg Anderson is joining us. He is from Newman Grove, Nebraska, but he also serves on the governing board of the National Biodiesel Board. One of the things you look at, and especially for MBB, is looking at biodiesel and what the soy checkoff has done, but looking at the return on investment on what that has been able to do for the industry.
The soybean checkoff has established the biodiesel industry in the United States through the farmer's checkoff dollar years ago, and now the checkoff continues to help biodiesel advance through promotional activities as well as funding technical projects to keep it in the forefront of the original equipment manufacturers to city municipalities and fleets that might have questions about using it to whatever application. And for the farmer, as myself, as well as the Kansas farmers, we can be confident in knowing that biodiesel brings about 63 cents back per bushel for every bushel that we grow, and it also uses a lot of soybean oil. We're producing so much soybeans now, some 90 million acres per year, over a 4 billion bushel crop. That's 22 billion pounds of soybean oil that we have to have a market for. And with the food application maybe leveling off or plateauing, more of this needs to go into industrial uses, and biodiesel has been a great market for that to happen.
And you've seen those markets open up as well, fleet vehicles, bigger cities who are willing to look at it.
For example, a big success story, New York City passed a 5% B5 mandate now throughout the boroughs, throughout the townships, throughout that region. With heating oil now coming on and a cold winter predicted for the Northeast area, we're seeing a market 300 to 400 million gallons of biodiesel being used. We didn't even dream that would be possible 10 years ago. Out in the West Coast, California is going to become the number one biodiesel user and now be approved with B20 with CARB. And in the Midwest, soybean farmers can be very proud of their checkoff being hard at work, providing that impetus for that to get going, and now become really biodiesel is our number one customer for soybean oil. That's just huge.
With that future being so bright as well in so many phases.
We're looking at targeting many other applications. You look at the marine place where they need to have safe fuel around water, so the marine applications with boats. You look at underground mines and the clean air that needs to be had there. But I think the thing that has built biodiesel has been the trucking industry, certainly. I know in my state, Nebraska, we're seeing many retailers offering it on blending pumps and now available to the truckers who didn't have it available before. And that's happening all over the country.
That is Greg Anderson, who serves on the governing board of the National Biodiesel Board. He's been our guest on the Kansas Soybean Update. It's brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Learn more at kansassoybeans.org. For Kansas Soybeans, I'm Greg Akagi.
Hope you enjoyed this week's Kansas Soybean Update. Stay with us after the break for more with Kyle Bauer and Terry O'Neill with the National Pork Board.
What if U.S. soybean meal were more than a commodity? If seed companies and the soybean checkoff built a better variety? That future is here. The time is now. To meet end-user demands, the Soybean Checkoff is investing in the compositional quality of soybeans, including meal. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
All over the country, more and more communities are making the change to biodiesel made from U.S. soybean oil. And the decision continues, improving the health and welfare for millions of Americans while adding billions to our national economy.
What does a brighter, more sustainable future look like in our cities and towns, and how do we get there? When New York needed an alternative fuel source to reduce carbon emissions, the city found what it needed in biodiesel made from U.S. soybean oil.
Ag Promo Source is a unique group of marketing specialists with one mission: help your ag business grow. Each affiliate has their own area of expertise, and they work together to bring you advice, products, and services. To get started, visit agpromosource.com. Ag Promo Source. Together we grow.
This segment brought to you by Sure Crop, liquid crop nutrition delivered right to your farm.
We're back. Now that we've got a look at pork production in Kansas, let's join Kyle Bauer and Terry O'Neill to talk pork on a national and international scale.
Hi, this is Kyle Bauer visiting with Terry O'Neill with the National Pork Board. He is a pork producer from Friend, Nebraska. The pork industry continues to export a great deal of their production.
We do continue to export quite a bit. Currently, we're at 27% of our product is being exported into foreign markets.
So has that trended up?
Definitely trending up. 30 years ago when I started pork production, we were at, we were a net importer. And value of exports was around $2 per head. Today, we're at $54 per head of every hog that's being produced in the United States is from exports.
Almost a third of the value.
Almost a third, actually more than a third of the value, depending on what the market hog price is. Right now, it's more of a third.
So what are the keys to continuing that trend?
Well, the keys to continuing that trend are we are visiting these markets personally as producers through Pork Board, through our sister organization, NPPC, trade missions. We're going to Mexico, we're going to China, we're going to Japan, and seeing what we need to do to increase pork exports. We need to know what the culture is there. They have different specifications on their cuts. I know a lot of our product goes to Japan. It's a chilled product, and it has to go through what's called a Japanese break. The product is broken at a different spot in the rib, so we have to meet those specifications. We can't just use our U.S. product, our U.S. specifications, and try to sell them in a foreign market.
Our organization is totally funded by the producers themselves.
Our organization is totally funded by producers. 40 cents of every $100 of value is checked off at the time of the sale of the animal, and that goes to provide our budget. I preside over a pork board, a 15-person board of producers all across the United States, and we get together during our budgeting processes. We bring in other people on our budgeting team and decide how we're going to split up those funds. The lion's share of the funding goes to domestic promotion. There's probably about $6 to $7 million goes into export promotion. And then we have a lot going to research, probably there's $7 million going to that. And then we have some going to education too. Trying to split that up more evenly at $7 million also.
We're visiting with Terry O'Neill. He's with the National Pork Board. He's a producer from Friend, Nebraska. This is Kyle Bauer reporting. Back to you, Jamie.
Thanks, Kyle. Come back after the break for this week's Kansas Farm Bureau update.
Soil is the life of a farm, and for 25 years, Sure Crop liquid crop nutrition has helped growers produce abundant quality crops while preserving and improving the soils they steward. Sure Crop offers complete soil and plant analysis with cropping recommendations, delivery direct to your on-farm storage, and quality crop nutrition custom blended for your field. Choose Sure Crop for the assurance of excellence for your soil. Call today or visit their website for more information.
Next time you see a beautiful field of corn, reach out and thank the farmers who work tirelessly to raise corn for livestock feed, renewable fuels, and exports to feed a growing world population. The farmers on the Kansas Corn Commission work for Kansas Corn with grower-funded checkoff dollars that support foreign and domestic market development, research, promotion, and education to expand opportunities for Kansas farmers. To learn more, visit kscorn.com.
This is Eric Stonestreet, and as many of you know, I love my home state of Kansas. In March, Kansas ranchers lost homes, equipment, and thousands of cattle from the largest wildfires in the state's history. Imagine losing all you have in a fire. Not just your house, but your livelihood. Ranchers are beginning to rebuild, but it will take years and tens of millions of dollars to build back herds, fences, and other infrastructure. Today, I'm asking you to help. Donate what you can and show your support to the ranchers of Kansas. Simply go to kansasfires.com. Your donation is tax deductible and will go to those who need it the most.
Tarwater Farm and Home has been family owned and operated since its beginning in 1978. What you need for farm and agriculture, lawn and garden, clothing and footwear, and so much more. You'll be surprised at what you'll find in this huge store. They have what you need and lots of it. So come take a look. You'll discover that customer service is first and foremost. Always has been with the Tarwaters. Tarwater Farm and Home, 4107 North Topeka Boulevard.
Hi, I'm Tim. This is my wife, Kat, my parents, Jerry and Linda, and my kids, Isaac and Lizzie. My parents traded their first careers to take over my mom's family farm shortly before I was born. When I graduated high school, my parents made me leave to see the world. I started on the corporate track, but soon wondered what farm life might really be like. Watch our story and the stories of other young Kansas food producers at kansaslivingmagazine.com/meetafarmer.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back to Farm Factor and this week's Kansas Farm Bureau update.
The NAFTA renegotiations provide an opportunity to improve agricultural trade across partner countries. However, recent rhetoric and delays in the renegotiation are giving way to rising concerns over the trade deal's future. Missouri Farm Bureau President Blake Hurst says U.S. agriculture depends on NAFTA.
We hope we'll see progress in the NAFTA and the renegotiations. There's obviously progress that can be made. Phytosanitary problems at the border, improvements in our trade in dairy with the Canadians. But 70% of Missouri farmers' exports go to either Canada or Mexico. We depend on this trade agreement.
He says recent rhetoric regarding trade is troubling to farmers, especially after Agriculture Secretary Sonny Perdue, who understands NAFTA's positive impact on agriculture, has publicly expressed concern about the trade agreement's future.
That's something that'll keep you up at night. And I know that Secretary Perdue is a very smart and very capable and leader of agriculture, and we're glad to have him where he is. But if he's that concerned, then I'm really concerned.
Withdrawal or failure to reach an agreement for NAFTA, Hurst says, would result in an economic disaster for agriculture.
Tariffs on our exports to Mexico, for example, are zero. They would go up to an average of 15%. So you see a 15% price increase, and you're going to see a probably less than 15% drop in demand, but maybe not. Maybe it's greater than that. You start talking about a 10 or 15% decline in already unprofitable prices, and you're talking about an economic emergency for agriculture.
Michael Clements, Washington.
Stay with us. We'll be back after the break with Plain Talk.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
We do business with Blueville because of the quality of their work. It is excellent quality, and because they make a commitment to their customers.
We enjoy the benefits of hiring a good company to help us maintain this home.
We will always do business with Blueville. We have for many, many years, and there's no reason for us to look for any other service.
Grain sorghum is one of the most important cereal crops worldwide, and Kansas leads the nation in its production. Over the years, sorghum has been either exported, used in animal feed domestically, or for other industrial uses. Recently, its use in the ethanol market has seen tremendous growth, with 30% of domestic sorghum typically going to ethanol production. Kansas Grain Sorghum is committed to sorghum research, market development, and education. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org.
I had this horse. It was a good horse, except for when the wind was blowing above 30 miles an hour. The wind was blowing about 35, 40, and I saddled him up, rode him out to the end of the lane, and I thought, well, he's doing pretty good. And about 6 jumps later, I was laying on the ground and thinking, boy, my shoulders sure hurt. I kept waiting, and it didn't get better, and so I went to orthopedic surgeon, and that showed that I had torn rotator cuff. And said, well, I have to do surgery. I thought, I farm and ranch by myself. This is not going to work out very well. I'd been sleeping in my recliner for about 2.5 years because it hurt too much to sleep in bed on my side. I'd heard about Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center on the radio. Gotten down there at 8 o'clock in the morning, and by 11:30 the procedure was all over. They just took some fat out of my side here and spun that down for about 45 minutes and then injected it in my shoulders, and I was on my way. It's something you don't hear about, but I thought it was worth a try, and I'm really pleased. It's really worked out well for me.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Corn. Learn more at kscorn.com.
Welcome back. Now let's see what Kyle and Duane are up to today on Plain Talk.
Hi, this is Kyle Bauer with Plain Talk with Duane. Just loves to listen to himself think, Toews.
It's really unfortunate that everybody else can't hear what's going on inside my head.
Because it amuses you a lot.
It is good stuff. Your fact or fiction question of the day, Kyle Bauer. If you get enough people to hold hands, we need a little holding hands, I think, in this country at the moment. But if you took 11 million of them at the equator and had them hold hands, and barring the fact that some of them would need a boat, if it was land all the way around the equator.
25,000 miles. Will 11 million people reach?
11 million people holding hands can reach around the equator.
Okay, I could do the math on this. I mean, I'm saying the average
show's
person.
Only so long.
I know. The average person, let's say, has a wingspan of 5 feet. 11 million, that's 55 million feet. It's 25,000 miles. 25,000 miles times 5 is 125 million feet. I'm going true.
No, it's false.
Oh, how many?
Take 33 million.
33 million.
Yeah, I think you overestimated the 5 feet.
Well, it's like, are you holding hands like Red Rover, or are you holding hands?
Think about it. You're
like,
not average.
All right.
And your wingspan is
your
height.
Wingspan is my wingspan is 6'3".
Right,
That's
why you hold hands, so that takes off.
All right, so you think the average
and
person...
now, what do you think the average height of the world's population
I was going with 5 feet.
Oh.
That's what I was going with, because with children and that sort of thing. But you're right, you lose a good 6 inches, if more than that, and in your arms. Yeah, and you're not stretched out like you're on the cross there, so... Yeah, it's probably. I think actually there was kind of some issues with moving zeros in the wrong place.
Possibly could have
calculation too.
Well, that's what you get when you don't get to use electronics.
You know, gun owners are just like ordinary folks when it comes to.
Imagine that. I think most of them are,
except for basic one issue. Okay, for instance, freedom of speech. Gun owners 94% says that's important, and non-gun owners 92%.
Pretty close.
So, I mean, yeah, it's more or less the same.
Statistically close enough.
Right to vote. The gun owners say 92% of them say big deal.
Right.
89% of non-voters. Again, 3% difference.
Okay.
No big deal.
Not substantial.
Right of privacy. Gun owners 89, non-gun owners 86.
Okay.
Again, right there.
Just neck and neck.
Freedom of religion 88. For gun owners, 85 for non-gun owners. Okay, right there together. Right to own a gun.
The right to own a gun. I bet there's a big disparity.
Well, interestingly enough, among gun owners, 74% say the right to own a gun. I would have thought it'd been 100%. Yeah, but no, they may own a gun, but they don't consider it necessarily a right.
Oh.
Okay, it's a privilege.
There you go.
Okay, but 30 of non-gun owners... Only 33% it's considered a right.
Less than half.
So the point is when it comes to gun issues, people kind of
gravitate.
But my point is they think pretty much the same until it comes to the gun issue. And then when it comes to the gun issue, everybody's in different directions.
Thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Jamie Bloom, and I hope you enjoyed today's show. See you next week on Farm Factor.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.